Now let us see the second part in the series on non-formal education. Non-formal education in India is the concept of recurrent and lifelong learning. In addition to that, non-formal education is about acknowledging the importance of education, learning and training which takes place outside recognized educational institutions. According to experts, four characteristics can be associated with non-formal education that include relevance to the needs of disadvantaged groups, concern with specific categories of people, a focus on clearly defined purposes, and flexibility in organization and methods. The notion of non-formal education in India refers to education that mainly takes place outside of the schools that are formally organized. Moreover, non-formal is a term which is used to refer to adult literacy and continuing education for adults. This educational policy is preferred by the rural as well as urban communities as it is not compulsory and does not lead to a formal certification. In the year 2001, the government launched Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan program with the objective to provide education to the children between the ages of 6 and 14 years and to those who have constraints in attending regular school. The non-formal education policy also helps those students who are school dropouts, working children, and children from areas without easy access to schools. The program is designed particularly for girls and other children with disruptive social and financial conditions. This policy of education is extended to all parts of the country, including urban slums as well as hilly, tribal, and desert areas. The program is functional in all the states and union territories of India with voluntary assistance to centers offering non-formal literacy is the main component of education. Both formal and non-formal education give priority to eradicate illiteracy. Listing formal education program has failed to produce the desired result. Non-formal education is the best strategy to make people literate. This is acceptable to everybody irrespective of age, caste and wealth. The 50% of world's illiterate population lives in India. In order to wipe out illiteracy totally in the world, the UN declared the year 1990 as the International Year of Literacy and the period between 1991 and 2000 as the International Literacy Decade. Illiterates fall under two groups: adult illiterates and illiterates below 14 years who drop out at elementary level. The overall dropout level was high in some states in 1987 and 1988. Bengal had 79.03%, whereas Kerala had only 0.4%. The National Sample Survey's 42nd round had further shown that in the age group of 6 to 12, 42.3% of rural children were never enrolled in school. The currently accepted definition of literacy by UNESCO is: a person is literate when he has acquired skills for effective functioning in his group and community, and whose attainment in reading, writing, and arithmetic make it possible for him to continue to use those skills towards his own and the community's development. This leads to a question of currently acceptable term of literacy in our country. It is: anyone who can write his name can be included in the category of literate. The follow-up programs by non-formal way leads the fulfillment of all-round development mentioned in UNESCO's definition. It is the most significant welfare idea of this generation. The Government of India, through 5-year plans, has made special efforts to improve literacy, adult education, and women's education, particularly in rural areas. The plan observed that adult education is an integral part of the revised minimum need programs, which has objectives like reaching out to the poor directly. They should implement it through coordination with other departments and make it as an essential facet of planning. A characteristic of formal education is that it can be imparted in a classroom, but it is not a must in non-formal programs. Considering the absolute inadequacy of formal education for eradicating illiteracy from the masses, non-formal education is the best and the most suitable strategy. The level of education of a country is an indicator of its development. Mass education is being advocated by the educationists and statesmen because the number of illiterates who are to be made literate is so huge. Literacy can reduce the gap between the rich and the poor by making the people more knowledgeable about the means of life. Literacy is the open door to knowledge and to a better tomorrow. In Indian situation, non-formal education is closely linked with adult education. It may be remembered that India already has an extensive adult education program. The literacy and training components are common between non-formal education and adult education. Therefore, it is quite natural that non-formal education caters to the adults. The success of any society depends on a well-informed and enlightened citizen. In this process, education has an important role, which molds the views and attitudes of people. The non-formal contents also contribute to social life. The social needs of the people are their desirability in society, compatibility with other people, and usefulness. Even a primary level of education improves a person socially and makes the status higher than that of an illiterate. Non-formal education revives the hopes of people becoming socially useful and desired. They can learn a skill or a hobby, or more so, when they find a job, they can completely transform themselves. As they had no skill and were underproductive and unemployed, they considered themselves and were considered by others as unwanted and a burden to the society. Due to non-formal education, they are becoming socially conscious and at least aware of the benefits of planned parenthood, clean home and surroundings, as also about the use of mass media. The social significance of non-formal education increases if it makes the people socially conscious, desirable and useful. Non-formal education develops social consciousness of people towards social evils like alcoholism, drug abuse and corruption. Non-formal education leads to develop social sensitivity and social desirability, which again is increased by achieving social importance. Social desirability is seen in developing correct social values, attitudes and habits. Condemning exploitation of children and women and promoting literacy are also socially desirable virtues. Non-formal education contents for self-development promote socially desirable values, attitudes and practices. Educated people can be more useful to their society. The literacy program, family welfare campaigns, job training and other community services of the non-formal stream make people socially productive. People can be made socially aware by instructing them to use their capabilities and resources through non-formal education. In India, widespread poverty and illiteracy have blunted the social consciousness, desirability and usefulness of a large number of people. These have led to emphasis on job-oriented and literacy programs in non-formal stream. Literate and employed people can develop social awareness, desirability and usefulness. The non-formal programs aiming at them have good social status. Illiteracy, ignorance and superstition are very high among women. Non-formal education helps in removing these and widen their mental horizon and to develop social and productive skills through better use of their leisure, leading to self-employment or some gainful employment outside the home. The economic value of non-formal education can be found in monetary terms such as income, supplementary earnings or the savings of non-formal learners. An increasing diversity of contents and improving social position of the learners and their rising economic prospects all reflect the high status of non-formal education. Because India is still a poor and developing country in economic terms, the vocational non-formal education has a higher status than a mere literacy or cultural non-formal education programs for education. Vocational programs must be offered in rural areas for the large number of unemployed youth and adults. The educated and trained adults would like to educate their children. This is the first step of the income raising ladder. The successive generations would also be inclined to keep on climbing the ladder. People can improve their living through their own efforts. The war on poverty can be fought and won in a constructive way through non-formal training in vocational skills and marketing strategies. The incidence of poverty-based crimes may also come down if the jobless and the underemployed can make an honest living through their own efforts. Also, the disparities in income can be reduced through non-formal of non-formal education differ from the learners of the formal education. So, the methods used for non-formal education must suit the background of non-formal learners. The teacher-oriented methods such as formal class lectures will not work effectively in non-formal education. The methods ensuring maximum learner participation of the learners is applicable in this field. Methods such as talks cum demonstration Workshop, group discussion, self-study, and contact classes are the most appropriate methods for non-formal education. Methods that permit interaction, involvement, and opportunities to express oneself should be chosen for non-formal teaching. A combination of two or more methods will be effective for larger groups and individuals who seek varying objectives from non-formal education. An oral explanation becomes easier to understand through a demonstration, and so it is considered more appealing and effective. A good and proper demonstration requires a systematic planning. The workshop method is more effective than a demonstration, as the learner gets personally involved in learning by doing it himself or herself. Unlike the demonstration method, in which the learners are usually passive observers, in a workshop, the learners themselves in groups prepare the article or articles under the guidance of the instructor. Group discussion is another fruitful method in the field of non-formal education. In a group discussion, members expose their views and arrive at a mutually agreed solution. Materials used in non-formal education are easily grasped by learners. The five senses, sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste, make understanding of concrete and material things possible. The audio-visual aids make the learning process clear, simpler, and interesting. Audio-visual aids have a special significance for the learners who come from different backgrounds and have various abilities and experiences. These materials help the learners to build a common platform of experience and to proceed from there to the abstract non-material aspect of learning. Graphic aids include charts, diagrams, flashcards, pictures and photographs, and these are mostly used to present information through eye-catching writings and illustrations. Displays on chalkboards, bulletin boards, and flannel boards are used for presenting information as well. Three-dimensional aids, objects, specimen, and models are more useful in non-formal education. Objects are real things which help in developing correct concept and understanding of things. Specimen is art of actual objects or a group of similar objects. Models differ from the real things in size and material. It may be either smaller or bigger than the original. Projected aids like slides, film strips, television, and videotapes are commonly used in non-formal education. Leaflets, folders, and brochures are very much useful to neo-literates. Graphical materials, displays, and projected aids will have to be used according to the age, ability, and experience of the learner. Formal education has organized evaluation schemes, elaborate theories, and rigid practical tests with a stringent system of final evaluation to assess students for success or failure. But all these methods are absent in non-formal education. It follows different criteria for evaluation, confined to not only judging the performance of the individual beneficiary, but to also evaluate what non-formal education has done for the educational and intellectual awareness of the community. It is necessary to find whether it has made any positive impact on learners. Evaluation is also needed to make better plans for the future. Periodical evaluation can help to find the weakness and deficiency in planning and implementation so that corrective steps can be taken. There are 6 methods used for evaluation in non-formal education. They are attendance, cost effectiveness, use of knowledge and abilities acquired, budget utilization, reaction of the learners and reaction of the instructor. Overall, attendance of the learners is a significant indication of the keenness of the learners. Attendance can be according to the programs. Cost effectiveness of the project in terms of input output ratio can be worked out to evaluate the program. The use of knowledge and abilities acquired through non-formal education can be evaluated. These can be done at 3 levels. Personal development, like being able to do one's own work involving reading, writing and simple arithmetic, fluency in conversation, cooking one's own meals or dealing with government officials. Then we have competency in doing similar work for the family and neighbors, including reading and writing of letters for them or arranging family and community functions, family planning camps and campaigns for clean environment, and also increased employment opportunities for men and women provided through better education in a non-formal way. Using skills through non-formal education, even self-employment are all a measure of the success of non-formal education. The records of the income and the expenditure can be checked to find out if the resources are being properly utilized for the intended purpose and that there is no wastage or leakage. The reaction of learners can be measured through questionnaires and checklists, which can be administered in groups or individually, separately for the illiterates and literates and the less educated persons. The reaction of the instructor can be in the form of a report on his satisfaction regarding the impact of the non-formal education on learners. University level non-formal education program has been properly evaluated by examinations and assessments. The most difficult aspect of non-formal education is its correct evaluation, as evaluation refers to a formal component. Function of education is communication of skills, knowledge and attitude. The mass media is known to have great potential in communicating these effectively. By application of various media in the field of education, millions of people have come to acquire new ideas, philosophies, approaches and attitude. Educational broadcasting has an important role to play in furthering education and development. The role is more significant in the context of situations in developing countries like India, which are facing the problem of huge percentage of illiteracy and heavy dropout rates and the emergent need to provide greatly increased access to education in formal and informal systems. Education is not limited to classroom teaching only. In this context, radio has been playing an important role for promoting relevant and interesting education. It not only informs but also inspires the audience. It is also a potential instrumental tool in the formal, informal and non-formal education. The All India Radio introduced programs for children from Bombay station as early as in 1929 and from Madras station in 1930. The pioneering school broadcast program started in 1932. 37 other stations followed suit and have been broadcasting educational programs quite successfully. The National Adult Education Program was implemented on a massive scale by the Government of India in order to remove illiteracy from the country since the 2nd of October 1978. The All India Radio has also committed itself to supporting the project with suitable program for publicity, motivation and training. In this service, learning directly from the teachers is minimal and there is more emphasis on learning through various mass media. Educational broadcasts are expected to play an important role in non-formal education system. In 5 states of Kerala, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Assam and Tamil Nadu, there are well organized radio cum correspondence training in languages and science. For example, the state government of Kerala, in collaboration with the AIR Trivandrum, has organized radio correspondence cum contact course for training teachers in the year 1975. As many as 35,000 teachers have been trained under this program. Most of the radio stations are single channel ones and it is not possible to cater to the variety of demands like adult education, workers education, distance education and so on. The main problem facing radio broadcasting is the glamour of the newly introduced television. Throughout the history of development, technology has been linked to learning. Modern technology combined with educational program, that is educational TV. The formulated term instructional television refers to the use of any television media in any of its various technological forms to present information, ideas and experience in any subject area and at any level as some portion of an organized educational program. Regarding the use of instructional television, the Encyclopedia of Education says, the use of instructional television in an organized educational program is varied but has been described in these categories: total teaching, supplementary methods, enrichment and remedial. If television is used for total teaching, all major contents and basic concepts are presented through television. In supplementary use, television programs present material carefully correlated with the principal course material but not otherwise ordinarily provided. For enrichment, television is used to present materials considered desirable in subject areas other than the principal course of study. In its remedial aspect, television is used to present materials for makeup work or concentrated emphasis on narrow subject. Communication technologies have the potential to bypass several stages and sequences in the process of development encountered in earlier decades. Both the constraints of time and distance at once become manageable. In order to avoid structural dualism, modern educational technology must reach out to the most distant areas and the most deprived sections of beneficiaries. The media have a profound influence on the minds of children as well as adults. Some of them tend to encourage consumerism, violence and whatnot and have a deleterious effect. It is significant to note that the television service was started by the All India Radio under a project aided by the UNESCO to produce and transmit social education program in the year 1959 in Delhi. In planning and production of programs, both the media, radio and television would emphasize some national priorities: universalization of elementary education, both formal and non-formal, non-formal education for adults linking education to economic and social tasks, development of vocational and professional skills, training for citizenship, popularizing science with a view to developing a scientific outlook, promoting national integration, providing information about themes of national importance, population education, energy conservation, preservation of wildlife, environmental sanitation, nutrition, and health. So, the effective utilization of media is successful in educating the masses about such concepts such as democracy, secularism, national integration, family welfare, and population education. The National Mission on Education through ICT is a project of MHRD, which provides a momentous opportunity for all the teachers and experts in the country to pool their collective wisdom for the benefit of every Indian learner and thereby reduce the digital divide. Under this mission, a proper balance among content generation, research in critical areas relating to imparting of education and connectivity so that we can integrate our knowledge with the advancements in other countries is to be attempted. CEC as an active partner is engaged in generation of e-content courseware for undergraduate subjects under the plan project of NME ICT of MHRD. CEC has established and is running an exclusive 24/7 CEC UGC higher education satellite channel of MHRD called Vyas channel. This 24 hours transmission is based on educational content produced on various undergraduate subjects to supplement the classroom teaching. The advantages of having such a channel is that education can reach a large number of viewers across millions of households. The knowledge and information gap which exists due to lack of communication in remote places gets bridged to a great extent through this mode. With a mission to carry knowledge to households and teachers and public, to bridge the knowledge and information gap, and to provide the same quality of higher education to all, the channel on higher education was launched on 26 January 2000. Non-formal education means learning to change one's behavior to enhance the quality of life through work and values without formal schooling. The academic objectives of non-formal education are clustered around school dropouts, functional illiterates, unemployed or underemployed youth and adults. Non-formal education is not a counter activity in opposition to formal education, but complements the formal stream of education. Non-formal education has the potential of being a lifelong education.